Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the live show here today. My name is Lori Meyer. I am a local real estate broker here in Ventura County, and we are back here live. And we are at our location, at our office location off of Wells Road, 310 South Wells Road. We are in the Chase building, right in the parking lot. Well, we're not in the parking lot, but the Chase building is in the parking lot right next to Cafe 126. Hi, Danielle and Terry. Thanks for joining us today. So we're right next to Cafe 126, who we love a lot, and we always like to do a shout out for them because they work really hard. Their food is fantastic. And recently we are frequenting the ranch chicken salad. So anyways, come and visit us here at our new location. We're having a lot of fun out here still. We are having a lot of fun. We're staying very, very busy. And hi, Anderson. Thanks for joining the show today. So we have a great show for you today, and we're going to be talking about trusts, and we're going to be talking about Proposition 19. So mainly here on the show, we talk about real estate topics, different things that, a lot of people have questions on. Of course, like the biggest question right now for real estate is like, what is happening in the real estate market? Doesn't matter where I go or what I do, people are always asking me, what is happening in the real estate market? Well, you know what? It's always changing. Hi, Amanda. We miss you today. But the real estate market is always changing, and that's the fun part about it. In my opinion, it's always changing, and we're always having to sharpen our tools and to stay ahead of the game. But so many people are asking me, hey, Luke, how are you? Happy Friday. We're always being asked, what's happening. Well, it really just depends. It really depends on what you want to do in the real estate market. What do you, do you want to buy? Do you want to sell? Do you want to invest? Do you just want to know like what's happening? Well, here's kind of what's happening. And that is that specifically in our area is a little bit different than the rest of the country. But specifically in our area, we have a lot of people that are still wanting to move into the area. The rates have kind of, leveled off. We're at about a 6. It depends on your credit score and a lot of different things. But, interest rates really aren't high. They're higher than they were last year, but they're really not, high. And everybody's kind of getting used to the average, 6%-ish, interest rate. So it really also depends on, the lender that you're talking to. We have a lot of great lenders. So if you're thinking about getting into the real estate market, hi, Steve, welcome to the show. If you're thinking about getting into the real estate market, whether you're thinking about buying or you're thinking about selling, that's a really good time to call us and talk to us so we can help you navigate what your concerns are, what you're thinking about. Is this the right time for you? Is this not the right time for you? And I love having those meetings. We can have it over coffee. You can come to my office. I can come to you. So whenever you're interested, we're on the phone. I'm talking to a guy in Hawaii right now, and he's just really trying to figure out whether he should sell his property or not in Ventura. And we are doing a lot of investigating on different areas about his property to decide whether this is the right time for him. It's not an event. It's not a decision we make overnight. It's something that we start talking about. We look into different, aspects about your life, your finances, and then we kind of go from there. So what's happening in the real estate market? It's really a great place for you to have your money. Overall, the real estate market has always been a great place to have your money. So we are low on inventory right now, so we're still kind of in a seller's market. And if we had 3 times as much inventory as we do right now, we still wouldn't have enough inventory. So stuff is coming up for sale. It's going out pretty quickly. So if you are a buyer, the buyers that I'm working with right now, we're very, very prepared. So when properties hit the market that they're really excited about, we can move quickly. And that's an important component if you're going to be buying in the market right now. So if you have any questions about, maybe you're thinking about your home, what's the value of your home, that is a good time to call me as well. We can do a market analysis on your home and talk about that. So let's see what else is happening. We're still celebrating the awards that we received here for 2022. Jessica Maxwell received the award for Breakthrough Agent of 2022, so we're still celebrating that. And Lifestyle Listings got top team producer at Realty One Group for 2022. There's our great award that's sitting there. You may not be able to see it real clearly, but we are still excited about our awards, and we have a lot of great things happening. We do have new listings coming up. I'm not going to sit and talk about them today because we have so many things we want to cover with our guest today. But you can go to the link in my bio and you can click on the newsletter that just came out yesterday, and there are the new listings that we have coming out, what we've closed recently, and so we have a lot of exciting activity. There's a great spring cleaning checklist that is on the newsletter, and I've gotten a lot of great feedback on it, that people are really enjoying. So it's a really good quick checklist for your home to look at some different items to make sure that they're up to date and current. And if you need help with those things, contact me and we'll connect you with someone to come out and do that for you. So, ladies luncheon, we had our first, we used to do wine mixers a couple of years ago before the pandemic, and now we are back to we're starting back to our wine mixers, and we're calling them the Radiant You wine mixers. And these are wine mixers at events, at retail storefront businesses here in the area of women that are attending Ladies Luncheon. Hi, Michael. Thanks for coming onto the show. So last night, for example, we had our first Radiant You wine mixer at the Jellyfish, which is a very cute boutique store downtown on Main Street. And I don't have the address in front of me, but just go to the Jellyfish. You'll find it through Google, and they have all kinds of fun things in there. So we did our first Radiant You event last night. We had so much fun. We did so much shopping, and we ate so much good food. So thank you again to Cynthia and Stephanie, the owners of Jellyfish, for hosting that event last night. We had such a great time. Our next Ladies Luncheon event, not wine mixer, but our next Ladies Luncheon event is on May 4th. May 4th be with you, right? So it's kind of same thing. But so we are on May 4th. You can go to theladiesluncheon.com and you can find out about that event. And we are getting ready to celebrate 14 years of Ladies Luncheon in June. So blessed. It's been maybe one of the best projects that I've ever taken on in my life. It's been very rewarding, and the community and connection that we have made with all the ladies has been a lot of fun and very meaningful connections at this point, especially after 14 years. So hello to all of you who attend Ladies Luncheon, and if you want some more information about that project, feel free to go to the website. Okay, so every month we are doing something to support Project Understanding of Ventura, which is a nonprofit that helps people here locally that are homeless or in need of food and different items. Right now we're collecting diapers and wipes. So if you have diapers around, maybe your child grew out of diapers, you've got some smaller diapers or diapers that you're not using, or you'd like to donate some diapers, please let us know. You can bring them to our office or we'll come pick them up from you. So we're collecting diapers for Project Understanding. And thank you so much to Project Understanding for everything that you guys do for our community. It is really significant. So that is that. And let's see, what else do we have going on? In 2023, Lifestyle Listings is offering you a free home warranty, whether you buy or sell a home. That means when you buy a home with us and we represent you, we're going to make sure that you get a free home warranty on your home for 1 year. And if you're selling a home with us, we we make sure that you have full coverage on your home through the selling process, which is really, really unique. And that is why we here at Lifestyle Listings are built different. And that's kind of our theme. So we have that going on. And so now I am so excited to have this guest today because, well, for many reasons. Susan Wilson is an attorney. She specializes in trusts. And Susan and I met each other, I think we probably figured out it was back in 2015, maybe, through the Ladies' Luncheon, and she started attending. I'm going to also shout out that she also does Mary Cake, so she's full-on entrepreneur and wears a couple of different hats like all of us do. But please help me welcome my dear, dear friend, Susan Wilson. Hi.
Hi, Lori.
How are you?
I'm great. Thank you.
Thank you for coming to the show.
Thank you for having me. This will be fun.
Yeah, we've been wanting to get Susan on the show for a while now because there's a lot of good stuff to talk about, which is why we really wanted to concentrate today. But Susan Wilson is the living room lawyer. So tell us a little bit about what that means and what you do.
The living room lawyer came about when I was offering, when I went on my own, I left a larger law firm and started taking on my own clients. I offered to come to them in their home. Mm-hmm. And my first couple of clients were family friends and friends of friends, and so it was easy to offer that at that time. So, I'll come over and we'll have a conversation and talk about what you might need or what your questions are. And it just grew from there. Yeah. And it wasn't immediately that I was the living room lawyer, and it just came about after visiting with people in their home. Mm-hmm. And one of the great things about that I found over time is that not only was it a service for my clients, but that they were more comfortable in their home, especially older clients. Mm-hmm. And they were able to relax, and we were able to have that conversation that really I was able to get all the information I needed from them. Because mm-hmm. when I meet with my clients, we talk about the big picture of their life. It's not just, oh, I need a trust, let's do a trust and we're done. Got it. They might not need a trust. They might need more than just a trust. And so it's important to get to know the client, to get to know them and their family, and what their short-term goals, long-term goals. We take a look at everything mm-hmm. so that we can make sure that what we're doing for them fits for them. Yeah.
And I meet so many people who haven't gone through that meeting, haven't gone through that process. So I think you're right. It's like they're intimidated by it. It's like it's a big line in the road. They're like, oh, I don't think I can do that. It's like, but you make it so easy by coming to their home, a comfortable environment, and maybe even a place where they have documents at home that maybe at that point they can bring out, and it's just a little bit more comfortable. I remember when you came and did my trust, I was at my office and we sat there. It was so great because I knew I had all my stuff, in my office. And this is probably the biggest message I want to share about once I got my trust done. And my good friend Merle DeVita will concur with me. It helped me sleep well at night. That means after I had my trust done, I was like, okay, I was going to Bali. I think I was getting ready to go to Bali now that I remember that. And I could travel, and I didn't have to worry anymore about what would happen to my property and my assets if something were to happen to me. So it really gives you that peace of mind, right?
Yes, that's a good point. When I first meet people and they are, for one, they could be intimidated talking to a lawyer, so being at their home or office
kind of very helps intimidating.
With that. Well, they don't know that until they meet me.
I know. So, you're very easy. Yes,
but the stereotypical lawyer law office with the dark woods and the marble fountain in the in the hallway or whatever is not my style. My style is more comfortable and approachable because I get the best information and I get the best clients as well. So I attract those kinds of people who I want to work with, because they want to work with someone who's easygoing and comfortable to sit and have a conversation with.
Yeah.
And the other question I get when, that people have is they think that they don't have anything to protect, or they think they think of an estate of someone who's maybe wealthy or has several homes or owns a lot of assets, so they don't believe that estate planning is for them.
Yeah,
or a
that
trust
that
would be
word
for
estate, like it has like this connotation that it's like, oh, this big huge
castle
property
in
Beverly.
England, and
That's
you know,
right, yeah. I have an estate, by the way.
Yes, yes. But if you own a home, you have an asset that needs to be protected, as we call it. Or if you have children, who's going to raise your children? One of the things
Right.
we look at when we talk about the big picture of estate planning is not just protect our assets, but protecting our loved ones as well. And so that all comes into play. So, for example, if someone, you own a home and you have minor children, we don't just protect that house, but we talk about who's the guardian of those children if something were to happen to you during your lifetime before they're 18. So we talk about who would raise your children, and so you want to nominate those people and talk to those people who would be your choice. And that's a lot about what estate planning does for people. Is it gives you those choices to make now, and not let someone else or the court make any decisions for you.
Oh.
So you're in complete control
Yes.
of what you want to do with your assets and and your family and how you want to pass that on.
I see this. We actually have two transactions that we're in right now that we can't do anything with because the properties are now in probate because they didn't put the properties into a trust, and they knew that the person that owned those properties was actually failing and was and things were changing quickly, and so it's really interesting. Hey, Jessica. Hey.
And that's unfortunate because
sad.
it's a difficult time for people, when your family members or you're concerned for their care, and so it takes away from maybe thinking about other concerns that might be up. You're not thinking about the house or thinking about probate, you're thinking about them.
Right.
And so obviously the right time is before any of that happens, but there's lots of great attorneys in our county. We are very fortunate to have a great estate planning, community. And, that for myself, if someone was in that, and I've had two clients who were failing in health, and I actually had one client, and we met in his home, and his ex-wife was there, his current girlfriend, they'd been, together for years. Two of the three daughters were there. I mean, it was a family event when we started talking about things. Now, we made everything legal, and it was, we did have confidences with the person, my client making those decisions and things like that. But he wanted everybody involved because it was an unfortunate time for him, but he wanted to make sure that everyone, and this is not typical, he wanted to make sure everyone was going to be happy, and they were kind of all included on what was kind of, in discussions, I should
that's
say.
good.
The legal part of it was done legally correct and all that.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of fear for a lot of us that, think, oh, okay, once, when I pass away, I want to make sure that everybody's clear. I don't want there to be, difficult conversations after. I want it to be a peaceful process for everybody as much as possible. So that's good. So we're going to just kind of get into some crux of it, and you guide me where we need to go. But what makes up an estate?
So your estate is everything that you own when you're talking about your probate estate or your taxable estate, everything you own when you die. It's everything from your bank accounts, your house, your car, your 401ks, IRAs, life insurance, all of that makes up your estate.
Okay.
And so that's why when I work with people, I have a questionnaire, and there's 2 pages to fill out about your assets. So what's your estate? So we can get a handle on what that is and what we're going to be working with.
Okay. And then, and who needs estate planning?
So it would be like I like to say everyone who has something to protect, or it's not cliche, a cliche, everyone needs estate planning, but everyone needs a piece of estate planning. For example, if you don't own a home, maybe you're older and your kids have grown, and you are maybe renting a place or something like that, or living with your kids or something, you still might need a healthcare directive, or you might still need a power of attorney document. And those protect you during your lifetime if you're incapacitated, which avoid conservatorship, which is another place where the court then says and controls your assets and the people who take care of you. Yeah. So we avoid that by those documents in place before you pass away that keep you, and then the trust and the will and that which take place after you pass away.
Okay.
So who needs estate planning? Not everyone needs the full package. Not everyone needs the entire, piece of the pie. They might just need a little sliver.
Yeah. But it's good to have the conversation and to call you and go, here, whatever, do I need this? And you go, well, what do you got? How do you want to protect it, And because the big question, the big statement is, you never know, you never know what's going to happen.
That's right.
Right?
Yes.
Never know.
That is something that is, for the most part, out of our control. We live and try to do the right by people, but we're not in control.
Yeah, things can change really, really quickly. I know some of you are out there going, it can, and it can. So we want to be prepared as possible, especially when you own really large assets, especially like real estate or, bank accounts and things like that you want to make sure that those things are handled, that they're handled and with ease, so that, when you pass away, there's not a bunch of time and effort and money there that has to go into, going through probate. I have seen some of my clients spend a lot of money on attorneys through probate. Hi, Ryan. And it's astonishing to me how much money they pay once they have to get into probate. That can be really expensive.
Oh, yeah. Even for the probate fees that attorneys earn are set by statute, so you can look them up. But it's, 4% on the first 100,000, 3% on the next 100,000, and 2% on the next 800,000. So a $300,000 house is, without doing the math, $7,000 in attorney's fees, which is, I can tell you, more than most attorneys charge for an entire estate plan.
Right.
And it's public too. When you go to probate court, it's a public hearing. It's a public place where all the documents get filed, so everyone knows who you are and all about you now. So another benefit of estate planning is not only we can avoid probate, but we can also keep everything private and confidential and in-house, so to speak.
Yeah.
So probate is there if it's needed. So it's not necessarily a bad word, but it, again, should be a choice, not what you have to do in order to distribute your assets to your loved ones.
Okay. I have a question on here that says, do you avoid taxes in a trust?
No, there's no avoiding taxes in a trust, but I should say generally no, but there are ways to, depending on your assets, it can be structured, trusts and can be structured in such a way that you give, I don't want to say it simply, you can give certain assets upon your death to different trusts that can continue on in a certain way that limit or reduce your taxable estate. And so just generally, I would say no, but there are ways to do it. So,
okay.
Yeah. So yes, I say yes and no.
Oh,
there are
it's
ways
a yes.
To get it. Yeah. But
just
you can't,
another reason to sit down and have a conversation about your estate and how you want it to roll out, when you pass away. Yeah. And there's just we don't have enough time today to sit down and go through all the different possibilities of a trust, but there's a lot of great possibilities.
Yes.
I remember when you and I talked about mine, And there were a lot of things that I didn't really even think about, you know, and so it was really nice to have that. And then the other part is I'm just coming to mind and thinking, you know, it's probably time for me to sit down with you again and review my trust. Like, things change, right? In the last, I think I've had it for 5 years. In the last 5 years, things have changed, right? And
Yes.
things get added, things get, you know.
Especially if when the interest rates were really low and people were refinancing, you need to make sure if you had your house in a trust that it gets put back into that trust, because a lot of escrow companies don't, they may not fill out the deed again to put it back in the trust. They just may put it in the homeowners' names.
Yes.
And it's not something that your homeowners are familiar with. They don't see deeds every day. They don't see these documents, and so they might not know that extra step needs to be taken to make sure that house is put back into the trust.
Yeah, that's a great point. What about a will? Let's talk about a will. Like, you know, how does a will relate to a trust?
They are companions in the estate planning world.
They're
friends. So you can have a will by itself. A will does the same thing that a trust can do by you deciding who receives your assets, who's your beneficiaries. The main difference is that a will has to go through probate if your assets are over a certain amount, and a trust remains outside of probate.
Okay.
So they're a vehicle to pass on your assets to beneficiaries. Both of them are. But if you have assets over a certain amount, you're going to want to look at a trust rather than a will, because that will have to go through court for the court to approve it. Even if everything is fine and there's no one who objects, and let's say you have one child and everything's going to them and there's no other relatives and nobody speaks up, you still have to go through probate and pay those statutory fees that I was talking about, just for that one child of yours to inherit your house.
Because there may be debt and other things that need to get paid for. There might be things that the court wants to make sure. Is that right?
Well, it's the trustee will do all of those things in your trust. The trustee is the fiduciary of your estate. And when you pass away, the trustee takes over and says, what are all the assets? What are all the debts? Who are all the beneficiaries? And they kind of have they pay your debts from your estate the same way that the court orders those debts to be paid through your estate. So it's the same process that would happen either way, except for the will is court supervised and court ordered, and then the trust stays private and confidential, and your trustee takes care of those things.
So somebody that just like writes a handwritten will, I've seen property owners, that we found a will, he hand wrote a will. Hi, Jose. Nice to see you today. Thanks for joining us.
Well, handwritten wills are valid,
Yeah.
but again, if you owned real property, you're going through probate with that will. At least they designated perhaps who they wanted to receive that. So that question is answered. Otherwise, the probate code will decide who receives your assets. So
what if the will isn't notarized? How do they know that?
Yeah, wills don't get notarized. They're just signed and witnessed, but there's a process that through court that you would use to prove that will is valid or not valid of that person. Certain requirements it has to meet to be a valid will, to be able to be used in court.
Yeah. Obviously, there's lots of information here that, we could go on and on. We were going to talk about Prop 19 today, but like if we just had a minute or so to talk about Prop 19, what would you say about Prop 19?
So Prop 19 did some very good things, and it allows people over the age of 55 or disabled, or if you your house was destroyed by a natural disaster, you can take your property tax basis with you and buy another house somewhere else. But for inheritance purposes, it's much different in that when you inherit a house from your parent or grandparent, if your parents are deceased, that you can only keep the property tax basis if it was your parents' primary residence and you make it your primary residence, and then you can keep that property tax base.
Okay, so you would have to move into that property if you weren't already living there.
Yeah, and there are some other restrictions and limits on, the value and how much of that is factored into what that property tax base would be. But it is a lot lower than it doesn't get reassessed at the current market rate. But if you inherit a rental property, that does not receive the same treatment as a primary residence. So
if you inherit a rental property and then you move into that rental property,
it has to have both of those qualifications, that it's the parent's primary residence and it becomes your primary residence.
Okay.
Yeah. So the rental properties would not qualify.
Got it.
As of yet.
One of the things about Prop 19 that I just recently learned was now it used to be restrictive on county to county. Now it's pretty much you can move your Prop 19, you can move your property tax transfer anywhere in the state of California.
Yeah, it was about 14 counties, and it had to be one of those that you moved into in order to take that property tax basis. So that was expanded. That was one of the good things that it did. If you're over 55, you could.
Hi, Selena.
You maybe want to downsize or move to closer to grandkids or something like that. You can take your property tax basis to any county in California now.
Yeah. So one of the big things we're seeing right now is we're seeing the baby boomers. They live in these big houses, and they're like, "Oh, I really want to downsize. I don't want to take care of this property anymore, and I want to go buy this, but I don't want to pay the property tax. I'm going to sell my home, but I don't want to pay the new property tax." If you're over 55, you get to transfer your tax basis, and there's a formula. Hi, Araceli, thanks for joining us. There's a formula that you go through to figure that out, but yeah, you don't have to take on that new tax basis. You get to keep your tax basis within the formula. So, okay, tell everybody, how do they get a hold of you?
You can find me on the internet. On my website is thelivingroomlawyer.com. Or you can stop by my office, which I offer for people who don't want me to come into their home or would rather come to me. It's 1280 South Victoria, Suite 135 here in Ventura. And come and, drop me a line. You go on my website and you can schedule an appointment right there for a phone call or a Zoom meeting or an in-person meeting.
Yeah, and I think her information is in the bio. If you click in the bio, you can find her there. And real quickly, what's your philosophy on life? What's your your intention you live for, overall in your life?
Well, one of the reasons that I decided to be my own boss, be entrepreneur, is like I talk about with my clients, the choices that you're allowed to make, so that you can make that choice to stay home with family or visit family and fix your schedule the way you want, not the way someone else tells you that you want. And so whatever is important to you, you can make that happen and have that choice.
And you do a great job of it. So many of my friends, have used you, and thank you so much for the work that you do and your heart and your passion that you put into everything. Thank you for continuing to attend Ladies Luncheon, and thank you for all the support that you've given me in Ladies Luncheon. Yes. And thanks for coming today.
You're welcome.
Really,
it was
really
great to be here.
I hope that everyone out there heeds this advice and takes some time to give Susan a call and just have a quick conversation to find out, if this is the right time or if you don't need her services. But better to make the phone call than to not, because life can change really quickly. So thank you so much for joining the show. That's it for today. I hope you have a great weekend, and we will see you in 2 weeks. Have a great day. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Wake